That Great Business Show, officially Ireland's top business podcast, crowned UCD's Smurfit's Business Podcast of the Year.
Welcome to episode 269 of That Great Business Show, available and very bingeable on YouTube, Spotify and Apple. I am Conall Ó Móráin. Yes, YouTube, because apparently you love listening to podcasts while staring at me. I don't judge, I admire you. Thank you very much for that. Now, in this episode, we are going on our holidays, but before we taxi down the runway, a reminder to bring our old favourite de facto shaving oil with you on that trip. It's the little bottle that does big things. Do ditch the aerosol. It's hazardous waste, and go sleek with de facto. One small, fully recyclable bottle lasts for months and works anywhere you shave. Your face, your wallet, your planet will thank you. defactoshave.com. Smoother, smarter, no matter what you shave. Now, we are the Positive Business Show, and we love calling out the naysayers when they are wrong, such as those who said that Airbnb was going to kill hotels. Didn't happen. That online booking was going to kill travel agents. Didn't happen. That low-cost airlines were going to kill tour operators. Guess what? That didn't happen. And Google was going to kill everything anyway. And then COVID came along to finish the job. Yet somehow we are, as usual, still here, still booking, still traveling, and still finding new ways to click and go. And that's my cue to introduce Paul Hackett, CEO of Click and Go Holidays, that has won Ireland's leading online travel award. Paul Hackett, welcome to That Great Business Show.
Thank you very much, Conall.
Now, you have just won an award which brought you to my attention. And I keep telling everybody, enter awards, because it costs you either very little time and probably no money, but it gets you a tiny bit of notice, and including getting you onto this podcast.
Absolutely. It's been worth it for that alone.
Ah, thank you. Well done anyway.
Thank you.
You were only at it 36 years, is that right? 35 years?
Yes, about that. 1990 or thereabouts. So what's that, 35, 36? Yeah, 35 years.
Do you not look in the mirror and say, good God, I'm still at this?
Yes, I do. And I think at what point am I going to stop? Yes, I do.
Well, you better answer that. When are you going to stop?
I don't know, but I am thinking about it. I do think it would be sensible and good for the business and good for me to kind of go, okay, you've done enough. And I guess I probably would have got out sooner had it not been for the pandemic, in terms of kind of having, in my head, I had 60 as a target and say, stop. But unfortunately, the travel industry was hammered with the pandemic. Business had to be refinanced. So that meant all my money had to go back into the business at that point in your life, which isn't very pleasant. But, c'est la vie.
And you're still here. And you're still in business and still winning awards.
Yes.
Now, clever you with Click and Go. That was 2010.
2010 when we started Click and Go.
And not everybody else was clicking and going. So you were kind of a wee bit ahead of the curve. Like, we were well into the internet, fine, but...
We were. It was kind of that transition period in the travel industry where companies were moving from being dominated by charter travel to being dominated more by scheduled airlines. So the likes of Ryanair and Aer Lingus at the time were more focused on city destinations. Like Ryanair would only have started in the early 2000s in terms of any sort of volume, and their cities at the time, apart from London, were Paris and Brussels.
It is mad, isn't it?
And it's so recent, and we forget that. And even Aer Lingus was very much city and US dominated. And they began to spot an opportunity whereby, the standard chartered tour operator product, which was kind of fixed 7 and 14 night departures at certain times of the year to certain destinations, really didn't fit what the consumer was looking for. And then the consumer had the opportunity to package themselves, and the hotels and the airlines saw an opportunity because they could create their own websites and they had a new distribution channel. So for me, I think the change was distribution. It was route to market. The hotels in the destinations didn't really have a route to the Irish, UK or European consumer. The same with the airlines. They needed intermediaries. So from our point of view, we said, okay, the business is being quite heavily disrupted. Budget travel had gone out of business in 2009. It wasn't a great time from a Ireland Inc. point of view, but sometimes that's a good time to start a business in terms of trying to attract talent.
2009 was the year after 2008, and we know what happened then.
Yes, exactly.
The old doo-doo and the fan.
Yeah. Challenging.
Go back a wee bit, because there was this, you call it disruption, moving. The consumer wants to get more flexibility and all. I can click and go. But then it didn't quite go, your business didn't disappear completely, as we can see.
Yeah, I think quite a number of travel companies saw an opportunity for what we call dynamic packaging. So what dynamic packaging is where consumers effectively put the holiday together, but on one website, rather than doing what we call DIY. Sorry for all the acronyms.
No, but that's fine, because that is what I would have done myself. And that's a head wrecker.
Well, it can be. It can be a head wreck. It's time consuming. You may not be saving money, and you're definitely exposed with regard to consumer protection and legal protection. But there weren't many travel companies at the time were giving you the flexibility to say, I can get the same flights as the other airlines can offer. I can get access to the accommodation, and I can do it all in one transaction. And I'm still getting the advantages of a tour operator in that I'm maybe only paying a deposit rather than having to pay for everything in full and do multiple single transactions. So tour operating moved really from being charter flight driven to being dynamic packaging, which was using scheduled flights.
And presumably that people were thinking that they were saving themselves money, but you're saying not. So that whole thing of the secret sauce of your industry is that you can actually be better value, correct or not?
Absolutely. If we can't...
That's not just a claim now, is it?
No. And even last year, Conor Pope, consumer guy in the Irish Times, did his own examination and exercise on this and was really pleased to come back and say, by the way, Paul, it was cheaper with Click and Go than me doing it myself. So it regularly can be. The flights, there's very little difference. You're going to be buying the flights from the airlines at the same price as the consumer.
And are you buying the flights at the same price?
Absolutely. Pretty much.
Mr. O'Leary is not having a quiet word with you in the back, no.
No, he doesn't need me. He has Ryanair.com and he has all of the right channels. So from that point of view, the same with Aer Lingus. The flights are the same price. And what you must do if you're going to succeed in this space is sell the consumer those flights at that price, because it's very transparent to the consumer what the flight price is. Where you really have to make your margin and where you have to make it price competitive for the consumer is the accommodation, what we call the ground services. So what happens on the ground in the destination, the hotels, the apartments, the transfers. That's where you can negotiate with volume and say, I'm going to be able to bring you 500, 5,000, 10,000 customers over this period of time. I want a better rate than what you're getting. And also at the same time as we were setting up the likes of Click and Go, what was happening in the destinations was that the travel companies who operated there as inbound receptors, as people who were looking after tourists arriving in Spain and Portugal and Greece, began to recognize that they had a new role, that their business was no longer coming for the charter business. They needed to set up their own websites, their own businesses, and feed back into the industry across the rest of the world to provide for the accommodation that was now being sold online. So we have what we call destination management companies all over the world, some of whom have really developed their industry to an absolute perfection. And we plug into those guys. So we have, plugins to the airlines and plugins to the accommodation providers. So when the consumer's on the website, it's all seamless to them. They're just looking for a holiday in a particular destination out of any airport in Ireland for whatever duration they want. And the services are coming together just by virtue of technology.
And you said earlier there that you get a better deal because you promised them 500, 5,000 or whatever. What happens when you don't deliver that? Do you get penalized or?
Yeah, you just don't get the rates next year, or you may get turned off. You can't make promises you can't deliver on in terms of business. If you do, there's consequences.
And I saw today and frequently the last couple of weeks, odd advertising. Spain is selling Spain. Does Spain need to sell Spain? Why would they? I mean, they're not telling me go to Andalusia or something like that. They're saying Spain, gorgeous place. We all know it's gorgeous. I often wonder, is that just the state has gone mad or?
No, obviously Spain as a state needs their tourism dollars and their tourism euros.
But they're almost chock-a-block.
Well, in certain places, yes, but in other places, no. And I think they'd be very clever about where they would want consumers to consider. So we would all be very familiar with the core beach destinations, but they may be trying to bring our attention to some less popular beach destinations or cities or inland territories and inland provinces within Spain. So I think they do, Ireland in terms of any destination, we have the highest per capita penetration for Spanish holidays globally. You know, we take something like 2 million holidays per year, visits per year to Spain. Relative to our population, that is the highest globally. So Spain want to protect that because obviously Portugal, Greece, Italy, France, Malta, all of the other destinations,
Turkey,
USA,
Turkey,
every single destination wants a piece of that pie. The Irish are absolutely great travelers. You know, we like traveling and we like to go somewhere different. So Spain has to keep front of mind and say, remember us.
And the reason that we want to travel is, and I can't do it here, but if we look out the window, it is today a miserable, wet day.
Yeah.
So anything to get off the island.
Listen, it's one of my favorite expressions, to get off the island. And for our business, for at least 10 months of the year, it's the perfect weather to sell holidays. Like, you know, we don't live here for the tax and we don't live here for the weather. So, yes.
I have to think of what else we do live here for.
Each other.
So you mentioned earlier that also Ryanair and Michael O'Leary often wonder, why has he never branched into their own holiday, take on big time holidays?
They have twice. They twice created. It didn't last very long. They twice created Ryanair holidays. No. Like, I'm sure he'd be the first to admit. You know, his focus is probably more on the airline.
Well, obviously,
and,
that's what
you know. At times, it's around sticking to the knitting, and I'm a firm believer of that. Even in our business, like, let's stick to what we're really, really good at and what we can deliver exceptional service on. And I'm sure they have done the same. And I think consumers are absolutely content buying flights from airlines. When airlines start selling them other services, it's down to the airline's brand whether that airline is going to succeed in that space. And it's also down to how much the airline pushes that model. Like, we are the official holiday partner to Aer Lingus. And, you know, we'd love to see more of the traffic coming through to us from holidays with Aer Lingus. But as with Ryanair, Aer Lingus are very focused on their flights. So whilst they want to have ancillary sources and different sources of revenue coming into them, at the end of the day, you know, the people around the boardroom want the flights filled and want the highest revenue and the highest load factor.
Which
and
is
that's what it
coming
comes
close
back
to the 100%. Very close.
You know, yes, they want, and it's always nice to have a portfolio of businesses within your area of action. But at different times, you're better off sticking to the knitting and doing what you do. And like, look at the scale and the size of Ryanair. Like, Ryanair, I think in Ireland only accounts for something like 2% of the passenger traffic for Ryanair. So, like, hats off to what Ryanair have achieved.
Phenomenal. I keep saying, and many people, when I ask them who they'd hire in a heartbeat, naturally default to probably the best business person I've seen on this island over my years of watching
Absolutely.
business. I'm an incredible guy.
No nonsense, straight talking.
Yeah.
Get on with it. Just do it.
And I know not everybody loves him. I love him because, well, there's a long story, but anyway, he makes me laugh. He's actually a nice guy.
Yes,
and he's
brilliant.
very, very funny.
Genius. I think we're very lucky to have him and some other great business people that we have in this country.
So back to your business, your knitting. What is the future? Now, I don't mean that in the broadest sense, but forever there must be changes. For example, once upon a time, I would have just gone online and tried to figure out everything myself. No more. And I see many, many, many. I don't know, is it an age thing or is there a affordability? But more people are choosing to go back to the travel agent.
I think what people are doing, Conall, they're spending more on travel. And when they're spending more, they really want somebody to take the risk for them, make sure that whatever service or holiday they're buying or putting together is put together perfectly, and that they have somebody who they can call on if they need to make a change without having to do absolutely everything themselves. So consumers are quite content for reasonably straightforward transactional stuff. Yeah, just do it online. And we have tons of consumers who just get on and book the holiday. But we also have a really high proportion of our customer base who pick up the phone and talk to our contact center, because from our point of view, our point of differentiation is around service. We want to be at the end of the phone. We actually want the consumer to talk to us. Our people are really great on the phone at selling holidays and talking about destinations because they love travel.
Do you not see an irony there? You're called Click and Go.
I do.
But you told me you have 70 people working for you.
But I'll tell you where the irony shifts into reality. If we just rely on the website, the conversion rate on the website is relatively low, as it is on all websites, no matter how brilliant you are at your website. If we get the consumer talking to our staff, they're going to buy the holiday. So we can convert 50% of the calls that come into us by somebody talking to our staff because they're really well trained, they're really well versed. And that's what travel agents, not just us, not just Click and Go, but like I'm vice president of the Irish Travel Agent Association and was president. Travel agents across this country do an absolutely superb job at making sure that the holiday you're looking for is the one we'll provide. Oftentimes a consumer will go onto a website looking at stuff and think, yeah, that's it. But if they talk to an expert, they're really going to find the expert turns it back and says, tell me what you're looking for, and then I'll find you the right thing. So the consumer could be starting that transactional process in the wrong place.
You took a degree in marketing, you lectured in marketing, and you went straight into the industry. That is why you are steeped in it. And let me kind of go wandering here a little bit. You have 14,000 reviews on Trustpilot at 4.9. That is huge.
Yeah, 4.9 out of 5 is pretty good. We want 5.
Well, yeah, but one person will throw it all out.
Yeah.
But you said to me that your people convert people to the holidays. How are you choosing those people? Anybody in business would love to know how you choose. What are you looking for in those, I'll call them converters at the other end of the phone? When you're hiring?
Critical 2 things, listeners and talkers.
How do you assess that? Do they all presumably either apply online or do you actually interview them yourself?
I interview some, I do. And in an interview scenario, I've joked once before that my favorite thing in an interview would be to have the Graham Norton chair, because you know within literally 60 seconds whether that person is what you're looking for. And you would like to save everybody the bother of 30 or 40 or 50 minutes of torture and just pull the lever and say, this isn't working.
What is the big no-no that they do come in saying, I'm the world's greatest or something like that? Or what do they say that you say, that's out, gone?
I think anybody can put anything on a CV.
Oh, I know.
I think we're really good in Ireland going with our gut. And I think that's a lot of what I do. Like I will maybe prevaricate making a decision until I'm absolutely sure this is the right thing to do. But I will use my gut to tell me, is it A or B as to what we should do? And
what's your gut saying? I mean, what are you looking at? The colour of his eyes, the size of his whatever?
It can be the likability.
Yeah,
how does that person sound on the phone? How are they engaging with the questions? Are they spoofing or are they listening? Because we're asking questions in an interview and the customer is going to be asking questions. And you want someone to listen to you when you're looking to buy a holiday. Listen to what I want. This is what's important to me. And then that person can go find it. If you're in an interview and they're just broadcasting at you, no.
It's over.
It really is over. And then we also, because we're quite a crowd, and we also have quite a crowd of staff in the office. Like it's a mix. It's hybrid work from home and in the office. I like working in the office, so I go in. Like we have a huge crowd in today in the office. It was really good fun, and we had a nice kind of lunch all together. It's really important that they would get on with each other, and broadly speaking, they do get on with each other. So for me, the likability and the sociability of the people in the office is hugely important. And if you saw our staff in the office, like I could show you some of the videos from today, you'd see it is such a mix. I think we have 13, 14 different nationalities. Every mix of what you could possibly look for. I won't name it in case I offend anybody, but absolutely everything. Everything. Yeah, everything. And they get on, which is really important to me.
Now, you're obviously doing brilliant things in Ireland. What about the overseas?
So when we set up the business, we always thought, Ireland's a nice market and it's a market we know, and it will be a tough nut to crack.
And it's small.
But it's small. It is small. And our technology, our back office system we developed in-house, like that was something we have built from scratch to service our business and our business needs. And we've always had a mix of people who are from the industry and from outside the industry. And I think that has also helped form that back office system into something really worthwhile. So we had built this and we kind of felt we spent an absolute fortune building this. It's good tech. It really is fit for purpose. It keeps finance happy. It keeps my product team happy. It keeps the marketing guys happy. The customers like it. The sales team like it. The support team can easily go in and do stuff. It can always be improved. But broadly speaking, it's good. And we're thinking it's a bit small for this market. Why don't we try and replicate and see what we can do in terms of opening up in other markets, but using the tech that we've built. So that's what we did. We did projects with Enterprise Ireland way back. Must have been 10 years ago, more, looking at different markets that we could go into with our business model. And we basically looked right across Europe and decided, based on the level of competition and the level of availability of scheduled flights and also population, because that's of interest. If you have 5 million here, you definitely want a lot more than 5 million somewhere else. And when we kind of went through the marking system, Poland came up top. So we set up a business in Poland in about 2017, 2018, which was the right thing to do at the time. But, 2020, it was pandemic. So a startup business in a pandemic is a real challenge. And we also felt...
And what happened to that one?
We had to fund it and just keep it going.
It's still there.
It's still there. It's still trading.
Because...
And it's come through,
The stats for Poland are fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
They have doubled or trebled their economy.
GDP is phenomenal.
Over the last couple of years.
From when we started and the level of holiday and the price of holiday that our Polish consumers were buying relative to Ireland was quite different. Probably half, maybe a little higher than half, but not much. Now, it's absolutely equal. There is no difference between the average holiday selling price in Ireland and the average holiday selling price in Poland. We're seeing it in terms of our staff costs in Poland as well, because they're obviously increasing. But the government have really worked hard in Poland, the number of governments, to raise the standard of living. A lot of it has been, state money being handed to people to literally bring up the standard of living within that country. But
we did something similar back in the day.
Yeah, in fairness, if we're all part of the EU and we're trying to raise standards and we're trying to provide services to citizens, that's the sort of stuff that you need to do. So Poland, we managed through the pandemic. It was a smaller business to manage through the pandemic than we had here. We had also felt our business model. In Ireland, our business model is direct to the consumer, so B2C. In Poland, we thought we could do the same, but Poland is quite different. Like, one of the things, when we had done the research, it was the country to go into. But what we didn't realize was it's almost 7 or 8 different provinces rather than one country. So when we launched in Ireland, we'd very close relationships with independent news and media. We worked very closely with them in terms of print to get into all of their publications. So it was very easy to reach consumers. And we complemented that with all of our online spend in terms of paid search, and social wasn't so big at the time, but it was a good mix of online, offline. And we thought we could do the same in Poland, but it literally didn't work. So we had to scramble and kind of reposition. And the business in Poland is now B2B. So we have a partner in Poland who we sell through. And Poland, from a travel point of view, is like Ireland was maybe in the 1990s, 2000s. Very heavily dominated by travel agents, with tour operators selling their product through travel agents. So our route to market in Poland is now that we sell through a very large chain called Wakacje, which is Polish for vacations, and they resell our holidays. They've gone through a merger this year. Their parent company's gone through a merger this year with other travel businesses in Central Europe. And that has enabled us now to open only last month, recently in Czech Republic, Czechia, as it is now, and Slovakia. And we're hoping to get Hungary up and running by the end of the year.
I love this, because you're the person who just started this conversation a while ago by saying that you were hoping to chuck it all in.
I know, yeah. Well, I may move out of what I do in the business, but I think there'll be certain parts of the business where...
You love it.
Oh, I do love it. Yeah, it's in my blood. Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah. I love it.
Was it in your blood, or where did it come from?
Well, it's really funny. We're a small family. There's only my parents, myself, my sister. And my dad's view on life has always been, and thankfully they're both still with us, my parents and my sister, we can change the car next year, but we're going on holidays. So as a family of 4 in the 70s and 80s, we were able to go on foreign holidays. So he would come home and just pile the brochures on the floor and say, what do we do? And I would find the holiday. And then the neighbours would come in and say, where does Paul think we should go? And I would do exactly the same for them. And then the friends did the same. So I would literally be spending my time, like, I can find my way around any destination by looking at a hotel. I can tell you if I see a hotel on the TV, in all likelihood, if it's in a beach destination, I'll know which one it is. So I was just obsessed. People read comics, I read travel brochures. So from family to friends, holidays to that. And that is still, I would still say to my friends, if you leave the country and you haven't booked with me, you're finished. Like, it's over. Phone me. I don't care how busy I am. I want to know if you're going on holidays, because for me, it's the headspace. Like, the boring stuff is the stuff I have to do around contracts and different parts of the business, or, finance and regulatory stuff. But the fun part for me is actually sitting at the website and finding great deals for people.
I love it. Yeah. Tell me some great deals, because we'll forget about the business. But people watching this or listening to this, they'd love to know give me 3 top hotspots or your preferred things that are really good value or great fun or whatever.
I think there's different destinations that people really haven't looked at that they should look at when it comes to sun. They should be looking at Madeira, which I just absolutely adore. I was there in June, my third time there, but my first time as a holiday. It's year round now, thanks to Ryanair out of Shannon and out of Dublin. Absolutely stunning destination. Malta, another one in the winter. It is so affordable in the wintertime. We're obsessed with the Canaries, which are great.
Malta, great food.
Great food, great value, great hotels,
Nice
great
people.
history, nice stuff to do if you don't just want to kind of lie on the beach. There isn't anywhere I don't love, and I'm also obsessed with cruise holidays. I think everybody, the Irish consumer, is not buying enough cruise holidays. We're only buying about 60,000 cruise holidays a year, and people have preconceived ideas as to why not to go. And they should just pick up the phone and talk to me, and I will convince them to go, or they should get onto the website and have a look at our YouTubes and different things that we do.
Do you take calls? Do you personally take calls?
I don't, other than from friends and family.
Yeah.
But I do indirectly, because the team will say to me, somebody's on and they heard you talking about this. What were you saying, or what was it about? And if it gets to the point that they would like to talk to me, fine, I'll talk to them. Like, I do have people, because of the social media that we do, go, oh, there's Mr. Click and Go. And they'll ask a holiday question. I swim with the Aer Lingus Masters. Like, in the changing rooms, it's basically a holiday seminar. What do I do? Where will I go? What do you think? And for me, then it's down to, what do you like? What do you think about food? How important is this? How important is that? Okay, this is what you should do. So it's hard to pick deals, but it's easy to kind of say to people, tell me what your 3 deal breakers are.
So you said Malta, Madeira, and what was the
Cruise
third?
holidays.
Oh, the cruise. Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
yeah. Anything else that people should avoid, or don't do this, or do that, or something?
I think wherever you are, whether it's talking to us, I think talk to your travel agent. No matter where you are in the country, there's absolutely great travel agents that are members of the Irish Travel Agents Association. They're really good at what they do. They're as passionate as I am about what they do. They have survived through the pandemic, and they are really interested in making sure that you have the absolute best holiday you can possibly have.
But if you're a tight so-and-so like I am, I keep looking and saying, well, if they're doing that and they're sending me there for, say, take a number, 1,000 quid, they have to get their cut somewhere. They're in business, so they have to get a cut. So there must be a way that I can get around that.
Challenge them to do it for the same price that you can do it yourself, or better.
Yeah, but nowadays, it's
And they will.
too much of a head wrecker, as I said before.
But they will. Like, travel agents have to survive by providing great service and great value. And that's what we do, or else consumers don't buy from us.
Okay, the future, your future, the future of Click and Go.
Well, hopefully the international piece is going to continue to grow for us. Like, there's 3 new countries this year:
That sounds very
Czechia,
exciting,
Slovakia,
yeah.
and Hungary. And all very different in terms of their level of development and how they work from a regulatory point of view.
Do you spend much time over there?
We have a really great guy there, Michael Gloa, and he's looking after that business for us. I'll be over and back maybe once a month, probably more frequently in the next couple of months, just while we get everything set up.
Flying Ryanair?
Yes, usually
I was hoping
usually
you were going to say,
Ryanair
no, my private jet.
no such thing. Like Ryanair into Warsaw Modlin, which is the secondary airport for Warsaw, because there's no real direct flights into Warsaw Chopin, which is the main airport. But I'd rather get
That's
in
a
direct.
great name for
An airport.
An airport, isn't it?
Chopin.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Named after the
Obviously.
great man himself.
Yeah. So, sorry, I was going to say about the future, about you said Central Europe, and then?
And also, I really want for us, like Click and Go, we're obsessed with service. We're obsessed with customer service and what we can do to improve customer service. We want to get to that 5.0 on Trustpilot. We want to keep the reviews coming in, and we want for our customers to have a great time. We also really want to focus more and more on our cruise business, because like it just is, for anybody who has not done a cruise, they should pick up the phone and talk to us and look at destinations that for a first time are going to get you away from your prejudice. Look at the likes of Alaska, that you can only really do from a cruise ship perspective properly. Look at the Norwegian fjords. Like, there's some great cruises next summer cruising around Iceland. Like, it takes the affordability of Iceland right down when you're doing it on a ship, and you're getting all of that scenery. So, forget the prejudice about cruise. 92% of the people who take a cruise repeat.
I have repeated. And it is
a great holiday.
It works.
Yeah.
That's maybe the way I describe it. It works.
Yeah.
You cruise at night, you arrive at a destination. There was something else I was going to ask you. Oh yeah, now, final, before the other questions, final question about the reviews. I'm a cynical so-and-so. I was going to use another word. Can you fiddle those reviews?
Oh no. And one of our competitors tried to do something last year with them, and they were locked out for a period of time in terms of reviews.
Because they are brilliant stats.
Like Trustpilot,
4.9,
I have to say, like, it's
14,000 plus.
Yeah. But companies like Trustpilot, like reviews are hugely important.
Yeah.
Because
I base a lot on them.
If the consumer, they can talk to us and they can understand it, or they can have a look at the reviews and they can book online, or they can use the reviews just to kind of give themselves a bit of comfort if they haven't heard about the brand before. And they may not have heard about the brand before. And the likes of Trustpilot are really concerned about what you do. Like, I think my dad did a review once and they blocked it because they were figuring out, well, he is related to him and he owns the business. So like they wrote back to him and said, no, you can't because you have a familial relationship with the owner. Yeah. So we're blocking your review.
You need a very big family to get 14,000, I guess. Yeah.
Well, we don't. Yeah. But yeah, they are really strict and they do it well. Yeah. And, they also put a lot of controls on us as to when we can ask the consumer for a review. And they watch it so carefully. They don't disclose the algorithm. They do have an account manager in terms of, advising you what to do. But they're a business too. Like they're in it to make money. So what they want
they're
is more.
IPO, I think. Did I read that recently?
Yeah, they are. So like they want you to buy more of their tech and they want you to use more of their tech and they want to attract more of the businesses that aren't using those review platforms to use the likes of Trustpilot.
Second final question is, you avoided the UK. Any reason? Or is it just
competition? The UK, if you want to, like from a lecturing point of view or from an industry review point of view, if you want to see best in class in the travel industry and the tourism industry and less so the aviation sector, travel and tourism, look at the UK. Like they have population base of 60 million. They have absolutely amazing brands that can be so niche and so perfect at what they do in targeting the audiences that they do. No way. Like there are absolute monsters in the UK who are brilliant. They come into Ireland. Unfortunately for us, it's just a bit too off the scale to go into them. We dabble in the north of Ireland because from a regulatory point of view, we can trade in the north of Ireland. But we wouldn't have an interest in the UK. We would be eaten up. Yeah.
Final question to you, and you know what I'm going to ask you, is who would you hire in a heartbeat?
Well, we've spoken about Michael O'Leary, and I would, just in terms of, I love his JFDI approach of, we won't say what that means, but you can figure it out if you don't know what it means. And from an industry point of view, he just gets so much attention and deservedly so. Look at the recent cap situation at Dublin Airport or other issues around Dublin Airport. Absolutely brilliant. I love my staff and teams to be really happy. So somebody else I would hire is Oliver Callan because I think he would cheer them up no end. He's bright, he's intelligent and he's funny. And I'd hire my other half, who is our best non-payroll salesperson. And he is he's amazing. He is permanently on message, outselling the business. And his claim to fame is selling 4 cabins on a cruise ship in a graveyard after a funeral. And it was, we were going off on a cruise and he happened to get chatting to some of the people who were there. It wasn't a particularly sad funeral. It was, right age, right everything. And we were leaving saying, oh yeah, we're off to New York. We're going on a cruise. And by the time we got to the gate of the graveyard, 4 of the women who were there with us were signed up and 4 weeks later on the cruise from Barcelona to New York. So yeah, I love salespeople. I think good salespeople are brilliant and yeah, definitely him. Can't afford him.
You're not bad at the old... You better give him a name. Sorry, I should have
Brian,
asked.
yes.
Brian. Because you're not bad at the old sales yourself.
No. Like it interests me. It fascinates me. I'm better on the spreadsheets and the numbers and the boring stuff.
You've just chatted away for 30 minutes without a break. That is really, really interesting. Congratulations again on your award.
Thank you very much.
It probably isn't your first award. You're probably groaning with awards, are you?
Well, you can never have enough and you want them to be current. So the awards you got a couple of years back, they sit there and they're nice to look at, but they don't pay the bills. So you have to keep current and keep the awards coming in.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on That Great Business Show.
Thank you very much for asking.
Continued success. And that is it for episode 269 of That Great Business Show. Officially, and you know this, we are officially Ireland's best business podcast because UCD Smurfit Business School says so. And they're smart people. They know things. Do us one solid favour. Hit repost on LinkedIn. That's the algorithmic love language. It sends us to so many thousands more people. And a huge thanks to our crack crew today, who were Peter Rice and Conor Eustace and Richard Ryan, and later on Neil Horner, who record us here at Dublin South FM Podcast Studios. We are powered, as you know, by De Facto Shaving Oil made in Mayo, sold online to the world. It is unquestionably the world's best shaving oil. It's not a beard oil. It's for anyone who shaves. From me, Conall Ó Móráin, Gurav Mina Mahagav, keep your business great. shave smooth, and your next holiday, will we say, click and go.
Perfect.
Auf weiter Slán top.